Hi, welcome to Reform Tech channel. In this video, we'll talk about Docker images and containers. Okay, so before I start what is Docker image, I just want to give a small note on the Docker file. So a Docker file, it is a text file that the Docker reads from the beginning to end. So it contains a bunch of instructions which informs Docker how the Docker image should be built. Okay, so it is a file to create a customized Docker image. If you want to create a customized Docker image, then we can use the Docker file. If not, we can pull the image from the Docker Hub, which we'll see in few minutes. All right. So then the Docker image. So the Docker image is an immutable. So that is, it cannot be changed. Okay, once it is created, it cannot be changed. So it is an immutable file that contains the source code, libraries, dependencies, tools, and other files needed for an application to run. Okay, so maybe you can assume an architect, okay, who designs a plan for a building. So the architectural plan, you can consider it as an image, like 3D 2D diagrams you have, right, before you construct a building. So those plan you can consider it as an image, and the final output, which is a constructed building, is like a container. Okay, so the Docker container is an instance of a Docker image. Okay, and these containers are lightweight and it is portable, and you can run application on top of it. Okay. I think we can jump into the hands-on for now, because that will give you more idea. So let me open my machine here. Okay, yeah. So here it is. So yeah. So now let's see how to build a container. Okay. So before that, let's first see whether we have any images or containers running. So to see that, the command is docker images. So docker images uh, will see if there is any images in your local. If it is there, it will list it out here. Since there is no images now, it is all empty. Let us also check for the Docker containers. So Docker PS, you can check the containers, but if you say Docker PS and -a, it will show all the running, stop, pause containers also. So there are no containers for now. Okay, so it is all clear. Okay, now as you could see, there are no images available now. Now let's see how to build a container. So now we all know that for building a container we need an image, right? So this could be a customized image built from instructions mentioned in the Docker file, which we'll look in the coming videos, or we can also use the pre-built image which is available in the Docker Hub. Okay, so maybe I'll jump into the Docker Hub first and just show you. So if you go to Docker Hub, here you can find lot many images. Okay, so you can find lot many images. So let me sign in first. So you have to create an account. I have an account. I'm just signing with my account, Reform Tech. Make sure you also create your own account. Okay, so once you sign in, now you will be able to see any images. For example, let me search for HTTPD, and if you search for HTTPD, yeah, here you go. So you have a Docker official image. Okay, there'll be lot of images available for HTTPD, but it is always a good practice to use Docker official image or verified image. So these images are good to use. Okay, so you have, like, for Nginx, if you search for Nginx, you have Nginx. Yeah, you have Nginx here. This is a Docker official image. As I said, you have the verified publisher also, so this either of this could be good. All right, so yeah, so you have a lot many images here. So if you don't have the image in your local, you have to pull it from the Docker Hub, which you don't have to do. This the system will do automatically. So let's just first see. So now before that, I just want to show you the command to check the status of the Docker. Okay, so if you say service Docker status, and here it is saying that it is active. Okay, so now we'll be able to execute Docker commands. All right. Okay, so I'm just exiting. Clear my screen. Okay, So now you see that you saw that the status of Docker is active, and I just want to give you one more command. This is systemctl enable Docker. So this command will make sure that from the next reboot of the system, you do not have to go and start the Docker. Okay, so the Docker will be started automatically. Okay, so if you run this, yeah, from next time the servers will be started automatically. All right, so now let's what can do is we can pull the image. So we all know, maybe you can go here, I'll show the httpd. If you go to httpd and if you get inside this page, you have a command here, right? You just have to copy this, that is it. You just have to copy and just paste it here. So docker pull httpd. So now what happens is it will pull the image, it will pull the Docker image, it will pull the httpd image, and it will store it in your local. Okay, so as you could see, it is getting downloaded, it is pulling from the library. So library is nothing but the Docker Hub. So this image will get pulled from the Docker Hub and it will get stored in your local. And now after this gets downloaded, if you just hit Docker images, you should be able to see the HTTP image. So Docker images, yeah, now you could see the HTTP image. And if you don't mention the version here, it will pull the latest. And if you want any specific version, then maybe you can say Docker pull and you can mention the version. As you could see here, there are a lot of versions, so 2.4 or 2 or any versions you require, so you can mention it here and you can just pull that particular version. Alright, so now that we have an image, now let's see how to create a container. Okay, so for which we have to execute a command docker run -it interactive. It means interactive. And if you want to name a container, it is optional, however, but if you want to name it, yes, you can do it. So I'll say name and you have to give the name. I'll say reform tech and -p. -p stands for port. Let me give 80 colon 80. Okay, so the first one which we gave 8081 is a container port and 80 is a host port. So this host port will redirect to the container port. So when you hit to the browser, the host port will redirect to the container port. Okay, and now we want to give the image. Okay, so now you want to create a container, right? So the container should have some image, so we are using httpd in our case. Okay, so I'll give -d meaning that it will run it in the background, and I'll say httpd. Alright, so now the containers get created. Just a second, right? It's not even a second, but it got quickly created, right? So now let's see whether we have the container created and it is running. So I'll hit this command docker ps-a, and yeah, it's running. The up it is status is up for 14 seconds, right? Meaning that it is running. And if you could see, the name is reform tech. Okay, so all good. Now we have the image here. Okay, now if you want to check this page, check this image, okay, if you want to hit it from the browser, then what you have to do is, you have, since it is there in my local, I'll just hit 0.0.0.0 colon 8081. Alright, now here you go. So you see this page, right? So it is the httpd page, http default page. Okay, okay, now let's do something here different. Okay, so now let's get into the container. So we have the container ID, so let's get into the container. So the command for it is docker exec -it and the container ID. You don't have to mention the whole number here, but you just, I can mention 3 to 4 digit, that should be fine. So I'll mention the first 3 digit, it's 688, yeah, 2 maybe, yeah. And you have to this should be open at bash bin, right? So you using a bash here. Okay, now if I hit this, oh okay, just hold on a second. Yeah, okay, so now if you hit this, now we are into the container. As you could see, before we were inside the OS boxes, and now we are inside the root container. Okay, so now the default page, it shows us it works. So now let's change this. Let's change this to some other words here, and let's see how that it work. So I'm doing ls, yeah, you have to change the index.html. So for this, the index.html will be inside the htdocs, docs, and yeah, it is here. So if I just cat this, yeah, if this cat this, it says it works. All right, so this is what it displayed here, right? So now we are going to just change this now. So for which we will just create vi. We are using vi and we say index.html. Okay, so we don't have this vi installed in this container since it is a new container. It doesn't have this installed. So let us first install it. So I'll say apt install vim. Okay, let's first update this apt update. So so it's always a good practice to update and then run it. So I've updated it. Now I'll just run apt install vim. Yeah, and to install vim. So I'm installing this tool. So once it is installed, yeah, it is installed now. So now let's edit it. So I'll say vi, and now I go here and say insert for I, and I'm going to delete this. I'll say welcome to Reform Tech channel. Happy learning. All right. Okay, so now let's save this. WQ exclamatory. All right, now we saved it, right? So now let's go to the browser. I'm just going to refresh this page. All right, here you go. Now you see the text displayed here, right? So, so now we have created a container of HTTPD image, and we have hit the container to the browser. It all works fine. Alright, so now let's see how to remove this container or stop this container and remove the images. Alright, so for which we can we have to first exit from the container. So I'm just hitting exit. Okay, now we are here exited. Okay, now let me clear my screen. Okay, now so if you hit docker ps-a, now you see that the docker container is running. Now if you want to remove this container, the command is docker rm, and you just have to mention 6882, the first four digit. But this will not remove the container because the container is running, right? You cannot remove a running container. So either the container has to be stopped and then you have to remove, or maybe you can forcefully remove by rm-f. So if you give this command, it will forcefully remove this container. Alright, it's removed now. So if I hit docker ps-a, now there is no container, but you will have the image. Now we'll have this images here. You can remove the same image like docker rmi, and just mention the image httpd. Okay, it is untagged and then it is removed. Now if I say docker images, you will not see any images. And one more thing I just want to mention here, so you have to remove the container and then the image. And if you try to remove the image first, then it will not get removed because a container is running with that image, right? So you cannot remove the image. So you have to first remove the container, and then you have to remove the image. All right. So yes, that is it for this video. I hope you have got an idea about the Docker images, Docker containers, how to create them, and how to log into your container and just see, right? Alright, so that is it for this video, and we'll catch up in the next video. Thank you.